Hi guys, how are we doing? It's Martin Cliffe here with another video. It is the 14th of February. Happy Valentine's Day. Freshly back from a few days in Singapore. We got back on Friday. I had a really good time there. Absolutely fabulous city. Anyway, I wanted to shoot a video, kind of a follow-up to my last video about pedalboard music and all that kind of stuff. To talk about, I kind of did, while I was away, my brain moves and ticks all the time, so I did some thoughts and kind of thought, well, what if I create a kind of utility board of some kind of extra stuff that I don't use very often, but I can kind of plug in the front end. So, because there are occasions, particularly when I'm recording, when I want different sounds than I can get from my standard pedal board. So my standard pedal board is unchanged, or not entirely unchanged. The pedals on there are unchanged. I've reconnected the Mobius up so it'll do the series pre and post thing, so I can set effects on it to be before the overdrive or after. All that kind of stuff. So that's 3 Strymon pedals are in the loop. I've also switched around the order of the pedals in the loop, so the timeline actually comes before the Mobius and then into the Big Sky. Main reason for that is when I'm using, in particular, the Leslie, the rotary speaker sound, that sounds better to me after delay. So that's the reason I've taken that approach, and that's really the only reason, the only thought that prompted that, except one of a purely physical one, that having the timeline before, I know I could have just run longer cables and just rearrange them physically without rearranging the routing, but having the timeline at the edge, the right hand edge of the pedal board, means that I can hit the tap tempo button more easily, because the tap tempo button on the Mobius is not something that I need to tap as frequently, so it doesn't matter that it's a bit harder to get to. But then, as I say, what I decided to do was build a secondary board, a utility board, that is actually stuff that comes before this board entirely. So I'll pick up the other camera, and we'll have a quick look at it, because I've actually lit it down under my desk for once. So that's the main board that I've had for a while and that I shot a video about recently. So as you can see, basically all I've done is I've routed, it goes from the tuner to the Mobius and then to the Sheba drives and that whole bottom row. That then goes to the input of the amp, and then from the amp effects loop comes into the timeline, back into the Mobius in the pre and post, so the secondary input and output, and then to the space and back to the amp. But before all that, we have this secondary board, and on here basically it was a place to stick some stuff that I won't use very often, and a couple of things I use nearly all the time, that I was kind of looking for somewhere to put. So at the moment, the sounds that you heard at the start, there is nothing on this board on except for the EP booster, which you may be able to see is turned all the way down, and it kind of just does that magic thing that EP boosters do, which is just give it a bit of warmth. it doesn't really do anything other than buffering and warming up the signal. And the other thing is the MXL Smart Gate, which basically I'm using for two reasons. One is so that when I go to just the single coil positions on the pickup selector, it doesn't buzz, because all the other, the three other positions are hum cancelling to some degree, but the single coils are single coils, so aren't. So I use that to reduce that noise, or to gate that noise, and also just to cut down the noise when I'm using the fuzz pedals. So you'll see that I've got three fuzzes on the front row. My trusty full-tone 69 Mark II that I've had for a good long time, that's kind of a vintage fuzz face. My full-tone soul bender, that's a tone bender clone. And then my Sir Rufus, which is a very versatile pedal that I use to provide a really fat kind of fuzz tone, even though, as you'll see at the moment, the bass is turned nearly all the way off. So it goes into those three first, and then into the two 3-leaf audio Proton envelope filters, to the version 2 and version 3 I think they are. The version 3 has an added tone knob, and they're more typically bass effects. But I mean, envelope filters generally are more bass effects, but these ones, they provide that kind of quack that if you think Jerry Garcia or someone, but also they have really interesting kind of sounds about them. I'll play through them in a minute and demonstrate them. And then it goes into the EP booster, always on, never doing anything other than making the sound more magic, into the Smart Gate, and then into the wah pedal, which is my Molly Bad Horsey, which I've had for a long time. I think it's the pedal I've had the longest out of everything I own. At the back you'll see my Ibanez foot switch. That's there for when I'm using my secondary amp, my Ibanez TSA 15. It was playing up last time I used it, so I need to look at it. But it's just there because it fits and it fills the space. Obviously with this rig I'm using my tweakers, so it's not something that is plugged in at all. So what this gives me, and I might have to kind of just stretch off camera a bit to turn a few things on and off, is just a range of different kind of useful tones. So the sound at the beginning, because I didn't have any of them on, it actually had my Blue Sheba Drive, chorus from the Mobius, a very subtle chorus, a bit of delay, a bit of reverb, and the ISO boost just to make it a bit louder for the recording interface. So I'm playing pretty quietly. So if I just go through the pedals that are on there, let me take off the chorus. My chair squeaks, so I apologise. Take off the delay, and I'll turn the reverb to a more basic. So that's about as clean as it gets. There's, as I say, nothing on other than the EP booster with it turned all the way down. So the first pedal in the chain is the, I was about to say the fuzz face, the 69 Mark II, which, the way I have it set, gives me this kind of tone. One of the magical things about fuzz pedals, I'll switch to the bridge in a minute, is just the way that they clean up in a really strange and special way. So I turn the guitar away from 10 to 9, and it's literally just from 10 to 9. And it goes from a kind of really fat fuzzy tone to a thinner kind of overdrive, kind of distorted tone, but very different. You sort of hear it just as you turn the volume down, it almost clicks. And it really thins up. Switching to the bridge pickup. It's a really cool kind of fuzz sound. Another really useful one, the soul bender sounds completely, felt to me, quite a lot different. It's got a bit more of that kind of bee in a tin can kind of sound, which on its own might sound a bit nasty, but in a mix it can really work quite well. And again, it cleans up, but not in the same way. It doesn't clean up as much. And the actual controls on the guitar, certainly the pickup position, doesn't make a whole lot of difference in this setting. Middle position sounds a bit different. For some reason the bridge pickup and the neck pickup sound very similar to my ears. But that's cool because it sounds sound. It's not a sound that I would use live because it might get lost in the mix, but for kind of fattening up rhythm tones when recording, it's pretty cool. And then the Rufus, is very much a kind of louder, more meaty. And this one really does that kind of classic fuzz thing of going really trebly and almost kind of lo-fi when you roll the volume back. So on the neck pickup, my volume's on 8.5 on my guitar, but it's completely cleaned up. And if I need to fatten it up, the EQ on that pedal is really versatile, so I can really get some cool kind of sounds going. So next up is the Proton Mark II from 3-Leaf Audio, which gives us that kind of so the threshold on this is maybe set a bit high, so for single notes it doesn't, not necessarily the best one to use because it doesn't trigger very well. But on the bridge pickup I can still get. So that is a good kind of pretty cool, fun kind of tone. That again, it has its uses. It's great for that kind of funk rhythm stuff. And if I drive that with a fuzz pedal, then it'll kind of give it more of a kick, so it'll open up more often. So you get, if we go to the Rufus, it's just a different tone, more flexibility. Again, that's the Rufus on the red mode. And then the other Proton, I like these 3-Leaf Audio ones because they have really soft switches, so they're really easy to turn on and off. Now Now this literally is just wherever the knobs ended up when I took it out of the box. I've barely used this new version of the pedal. It's only been out a few months, I think. It's one of my most recent pedal acquisitions. And it's just a different tone than the other envelope filter, so if I switch between them, that's going to be much more mellow. That's the version 2 and the version 3. Now, and I looked a little while ago on YouTube for demos of these pedals. I couldn't find any guitar demos at all, so maybe I should do guitar demos from them. As I say, they're mainly bass pedals. They're awesome on bass. But I have 2 other bass envelope filters. I have an Electroharmonic bass balls and the MXR bass envelope filter, which I also really like. So these ones found their way onto my guitar board. They're kind of funky. Now, if just to demonstrate the difference between EP booster on and off, it's just kind of fattening it up and giving it a bit more soul, a bit more body, which I like. So I leave it on, because generally more mellow, soulful, powerful, kind of punchy tones is my kind of, you know, where I'm at. As I say, Smart Gate doesn't really do anything other than cut out noise. If I turn it off, you may be able to hear a slight amount of noise, but if I turn it off when I've got, say, my Riot on, because I'm in a room with stuff, yeah, there's computer monitors, there's lights, there's all sorts of weird stuff. You still get a bit of noise from the pedal, but at least you're not getting a single coil noise. And it's really impacted basically in single coil positions. But yeah, that's just a really, it's a utility pedal, you know, it's not one that impacts tone. In fact, it's really transparent, which is why I like that particular noise gate more than some of the others I've tried. I've tried the original ISP decimator, I've tried the MXR noise clamp, and the Boss NS2. So there are plenty of other noise pedals that I haven't tried out, but that's what I have used. And then the Bad Horsey. Now, some people say run wah before fuzz. This is an active wah, so the fuzz doesn't like being after it. I mean, the Sir doesn't really care, but certainly the full tones want to see the guitar plugged straight into them. So, plus, if you run fuzz into wah, you do get some kind of cool. Which isn't like a traditional fuzz tone, I guess, in a sense, but works well, and also I would mostly use it, I guess, with an overdrive pedal. So if I go, and yeah, it's not the best wah pedal in the world, it's a little bit noisy, but I like the auto shut off, that it's spring loaded. Don't have to mess around with stamping on foot switches hidden at the backs of pedals, particularly when I'm playing sat down. That's quite tricky. And you know, it's the pedal that I'm used to, because it's been my only wah pedal since, I can't remember, I got it in like 2006 or something like that, so that's like 10 years ago. And it works, great pedal. So that's it, that's a supplementary board. Yeah, what I've been using it for. I only put it together earlier today, so it's kind of, you know, things may change a little bit, but everything is on the main board is all on isolated power, so you're not getting any issues with noise. It's all wired up with lower cables, so you know, good quality ELC and mini ELC patch cables. Just a versatile addition. You know, I'm still not sure where the rest of my pedals and pedal boards and stuff are going. Got a few ideas, but the advantage of it being on a separate board is twofold. It means that if for a lot of things I will not take it, I will just use the main board, the big board with the Sur pedals and the Strymons. It also means that I can plug it into a different board. So the board I showed in my last video that with the kind of rhythm guitarist board, I guess, or something daft. You know, I stripped down because it wasn't, as I said in the video, I didn't really see a purpose for it, and I wanted to leave one pedal off there for this board, maybe two, I can't remember, because I can't remember what I put on it. But I can put together another board and use this with that instead of this with the other board, so it's flexible having these modular boards. And then I'm going to do something with bass pedals and maybe build an acoustic board or a hybrid board or something. I don't know. There's so many things that can be done. But there we go. That's kind of an update. Hope everyone's well. Until next time, take care, and I will speak to you soon.